Welcome back to Our Community. Susie Thomas visiting with Coach Jack Hazen from Malone University, and the Olympics, and just world-renowned Coach Jack Hazen. I'm so honored to have you here. Now that we've got the Hall of Fame marathon running through Canton, Ohio, it seems that a lot of names of people you have coached seem to be the people that we see winning that and doing really well. Do we have a leg up because it's here in Canton now?
Yeah, I think we have a number of people, and some of my associate coach and my grad assistant are both running it, and it comes by the corner of Malone there when it turns at 25th and comes up to I believe Harvard. And so we're naming that the Malone Mile, and we're going to be out giving out water and making a lot of noise, and so it's exciting to be a part of the thing, and hopefully our people will do well again. We've had a good history of winning both on the men's and women's side.
It just seems so right that with a marathon in Canton, Ohio now, that Malone's Corner would be part of the route that they would have to run. That just seems that it wouldn't be right any other way.
And of course, my current athletes can't run it because we're in season with track and field, but it's mostly the alumni that come back and do a pretty good job.
Pretty cool. You had recently at Malone a very big night as they were recognizing 50 years of coaching. With, let's just say, this was not a retirement dinner by any stretch of the imagination. It was just a tip of the hat with many, many more years to come and more championships and just lots of good information and learning about how to run properly for young people. I'm hoping you can hang in there for my granddaughter. She loves to run. And so, just a few more years, okay?
Well, my biggest project right now is to try to convince people I'm not retiring, especially when I'm recruiting people. And so I tell the parents as long as the Lord blesses me with good mental health and physical health, I'm going to keep coaching because I just love it so much here at Ohio State University.
Which could have been. It's to their chagrin, you're still at Malone. That's pretty cool. Tell us about that night. What really was most meaningful to you?
Well, all of the athletes that came back, that was the highlight. The 72 team, guys that won the national championships in 1972, coming from all over the United States to be there, that was very, very special. And so it was a great night, and I was very excited to have that happen. I wish we could do those kind of homecomings and anniversaries. So many of my athletes have gone out and gone a far distance, and I just never see them, get to visit with them. So that was the most impressive thing, is just to get to visit with all those people.
Yeah. You still run.
I do. I run right now 2 miles a day. About 7 or 8 years ago, for 40 years, I ran 3 miles a day. Uh-huh. I never ran marathons or longer than that, and I didn't want my knees to wear out and cartilage to go bad, and it's really a product of genetics, I think. But I've been very fortunate to be able to, at age 77, to keep running, and I get the 2 miles in pretty much every day.
There's something to this running thing, because you say 77, anybody looking at you would go, there's no possible way. No possible way. So the anti-aging exercise has got something to do with it, doesn't it?
Well, I think so. And I think from a cardiovascular standpoint, it definitely helps. And so I'm going to keep doing it. It gives you, now that it takes me about a half hour to do it, it's also good thinking time, good planning time, and good devotional time. I usually run by myself. I used to run with my dog Dozer, but he's getting kind of old, so I run by myself, and it's a good time to think and meditate and get your plans for the day down.
You do 2 miles in a half hour? You're doing a 15-minute mile? You're running at a pretty good clip.
Oh, well, thank you. I don't consider that a very good clip. But.
Well, for walkers,
yeah.
that's pretty awesome. It's really good. For somebody who's saying, all right, I'm inspired now, I want to get started, what is the best way to start a running plan?
Well, I think you need to start off gradually. It's something that your body adapts. You can't overdo it. and so it has to be a gradual process. I think people getting started to get really enthused about it want to jump into longer distance, and it really is a gradual adaptation that needs to take place. So it's good to get a coach or some direction from somebody that knows what they're talking about, and make it a gradual progression.
Running marathons is so popular right now. Is there a way to prepare? What's the best way to prepare for that kind of a strain on your body?
Well, I don't recommend our collegiate athletes running it until they're at least a junior or senior and have logged maybe 4 or 5 years of mileage. And then mostly my post-collegiate athletes run and get into marathoning and longer distances, and they can handle it. They've been used to hard training, and so there are some exceptions like Tony Migliozzi that just he runs a marathon every 3 or 4 weeks. He can go out and run a marathon and do pretty good. So most people aren't that fortunate. In fact, I've spent most of my coaching career working with Tony, trying to slow him down and make him go easier. But he kind of defies the odds, and he's doing it. So he's very successful at it.
I heard something, now help me say this correctly, that a marathon is sort of like a so many mile jog and then a so many mile sprint.
Yeah, it's about a 20-mile warm-up jog and then a 6-mile race.
A 6-mile race.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I think that's good advice for anybody to get through the first 20 in pretty good shape, feeling pretty good, and use it as a warm-up, and then go race for 6 miles. And we have other little gimmicks, like instead of looking at the 21-mile mark, look at it like at the 5-mile mark, 5 to go, 4 to go, 3 to go, instead of the other way around. But I think
mentally that helps.
Mentally that helps, I think.
What about eating, nutrition?
I think everybody's different, and I don't think there's any gimmick diets or any. We used to try carbo loading and unusual things, but I think just eating a normal diet, something that sits on your stomach well. I think that's all you need to do.
That's interesting. So not the carbo loading anymore, or just eating lots of honey. I remember our team used to eat lots of honey before something. Interesting. It's got to be so rewarding to you to see these young people and what they're doing with their lives now. You mentioned that it's just good thinking time and good devotional time. And we see biblically so many times that running is used as some kind of an analogy as far as our spiritual growth, our spiritual walk. Do you see the ties there as well?
Oh, absolutely. And, I've prided myself, you asked it before, about preparing to coach and learning the scientific principles and using devices. I've used altitude trainers through the years. Some of my collegiate runners right now have altitude tents in their room. We're planning next fall to go to altitude out in Mammoth Lakes, where Meb and Dina train, and at 9,000 and 10,000 feet, and we're going to train there. And so right now we're working on the device with an engineer from the University of Akron that measures force in your shoe. It's an insole that goes in, and it helps measure stride length. And so I try to be on the cutting edge of things and doing the right things in workouts. But when it all boils down to it, this being Easter week and Maundy Thursday coming up, I think back to and I said this at my celebration, that I think that the success of my coaching has not been in how I coach or the techniques I use or the devices that I use, but it's that mental approach, that psychological approach that is so important in building a team. Again, Dr. Vigil, who mentored me in physiology and science, he is a great motivator as well. And he said, when you believe in someone, you add value to their life. And I think that's been the key to my teams in the past. I think getting back to Maundy Thursday, when Jesus met with his disciples for the last time, washed their feet, and said, I have a new commandment for you, and that is to love one another. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's been the kind of the focus of our team through the years, is loving each other, getting along, and having fun, enjoying it. Working hard and getting through the tough times by caring about each other. So I think that's that's been the secret of my success, not the scientific principles that I utilize.
I love that. Did they, as they were meeting together, were they seeing each other for the first time in a long time, or have they stayed close? Do you see the relationships among the team members?
Yeah,
continuing?
I think that it's the first time in many years that they've been together physically. Some of them communicate back and forth with social media now. It's a lot easier than it was.
Yeah.
But I think this was the first meeting in maybe 20 or 30 years that they were all together.
So very cool. There've got to be some hilarious stories, though. You've got college guys, and you can be a trickster, too. So I'm thinking there's got to be some really fun that had happened along the way.
Yeah, the first All-American from New Jersey, Bill Scholl, is a real comedian, and so I got many new jokes from him. He's had so many interesting jobs. His first job was he got a job in a lighthouse on the coast of New Jersey, and at the time it was the only he was the only inhabitant of a national monument. He lived in the lighthouse and made sure everything was functioning, and he talks about it, and I said, "How was that?" And he says, "Oh, it was neat. It was just a little lighthouse work." And
no. He was waiting to use that.
That's right.
It was one time where you drove a team somewhere, and they had an interesting way of getting back because you wanted them to have a good long run. Do you know where I'm going with that?
Well, that goes back to right before those guys in '72. It was about 70 probably. We thought and we knew that by running longer distances all at one time created more red blood cells, more capillaries, and it was better. It made you better as a distance runner. So I would try to get these guys to run long runs. My teams now the guys, some of them run 19 or 20 miles all at one time.
Wow.
The girls run up to 14 miles all at one time.
Wow.
And but I couldn't get those guys to do it back in those days. We didn't have women then because women weren't supposed to run distance. It was damaging to the bodies or whatever. But I couldn't get the guys to run a sustained long run. So one nice sunny day like today, only in the fall, I got the school van and I said, "Guys, we're not going to work out today." When they showed up, I said, "We're going to go on a picnic, jump in the van." And we went down to Waynesburg, and I let them out and said, "Hey guys, no picnic, see you back at Malone." And they learned that day they could run 19 miles all at one time.
Wow. Amazing. Coach Jack Hazen, you can still visit with him. He'll recruit you, and you want to find him at Malone University, malonepioneers.com or org? malonepioneers.edu.
Edu.
Okay, there you go. Try that one.
Right.
And my goodness, thank you so much for living here and what you contribute to our community.
Thank you, Susie.